What's up, pals? Welcome to the Your Random Pal channel. On today's episode, Kentucky Blue, my trusty steed, a 2011 Mustang convertible, is getting a much deserved interior makeover. Right behind me here is a red brick interior with white cashmere stripe, which will be going into my ride. Now, I just replaced the convertible top on this car, so I figured I'd start doing the rest of the car too. And it does have some paint issues, and I will tackle that after I get the interior put in. But for today, we're going to work on putting the interior in this car and giving it a nice, new, fresh makeover. Now you'll want to stick around to the end of this video because I'll cover all the costs involved that I paid for replacing the interior in this and changing it over to this beautiful brick red interior. And also in the comments section below, let me know if you've encountered a Mustang with this brick red interior, as they're very rare. Actually, when I was trying to source some Mustang interior parts, I was calling around to the big Mustang junkyards, and they didn't have any red interior parts. So they're very hard to find. And when you do encounter a Mustang with the brick red interior, you usually see a silver or a black colored Mustang. But how many times have you encountered a Kona blue Mustang with the brick red interior? Now they do exist. I've never seen one with that color combination in person, but I have looked on the internet and there's a picture of one with a convertible top, and there's also a hardtop one in that color combination. So very interesting. And so just let me know if you've seen those color combinations. I'd like to know. Now in 2010 I started my search for this Mustang here, and there are certain things that I wanted in a Mustang. I wanted the Kona blue exterior, I wanted a convertible, had to have a manual transmission, and I also wanted the red interior. But I also wanted a V6, not the V8 GT, although I am wearing it on my shirt, the 5.0. So unfortunately, I couldn't get the combination I really wanted. So today, I'm going to start the process of putting this brick red interior in my Mustang that I've always wanted. And this color combination is really going to pop when you see it. Oh, and in case you're wondering why I went with the V6 and not the 5.0 V8 that everybody loves to go crazy about, well, I bought this car because I wanted a daily driver. I wanted a car that's good for road trips, and so it's good on gas that way with the V6. But hey, it has a respectable 305 horsepower from the factory. If I recall correctly, actually I do recall correctly, the muscle car of the 80s was the Buick Grand National, which yours truly used to own one, and it was a V6 3.8 liter. This is a 3.7, by the way, so very close. And this has actually got more horsepower as far as the rating than my Grand National, although the Grand National could really take off. So now let's go over the parts I got behind me to do this interior makeover. Now in this box here, I have a NOS steering wheel that I got from Steelwell on eBay. It did come with the guts, which is the trim on the steering wheel spoke, the buttons for the cruise control. They're different from steering wheel that's in the car now, so I can't just swap them over. I had to buy new buttons and trim for this particular steering wheel right here. Now, all that stuff is in this box here. This is the silver trim that goes in the spokes of the steering wheel. There's 3 pieces. I ordered those through Quirk Parts. And then in these little Motorcraft boxes here, there's buttons for each side of the steering wheel. You got the cruise control and the stereo buttons, brand new from rockauto.com. So you can go on there and get you some new switches, which are specific to that steering wheel. Now inside this long box here is, let me pull it out here, some red door panel inserts. Now these are not the original ones. These are reproduction ones made by Coverlay. I got them through eBay. The original one would have like a stitching right through here, and it have horse emblems on it. which I do have some horse emblems. So here are the horse emblems. They're 4-inch. I bought these on eBay, came in a pair. Got adhesive backing on them, and I'm just gonna stick them like right there. Try to make them close to the factory, although this won't be factory accurate because, like I said, it doesn't have the stitching there. But if you wanted a different design, they come in 2 different designs by Coverlay in this collar. You can get one with a bunch of pleats in it, and you can get this smooth one like I've got here. Now, moving right along in this box here, these are headrests that I found on eBay. They are used. So there's 2 of them there we need for the front seats. And then in the rest of this box here is brand new upholstery, as you can see here. And these upholstery pieces go on the front seats. Now, this upholstery here is made by US Auto Seat Covers Inc. They had a listing on eBay for them, so you can buy the pair if you want. You can buy just the top pieces, the bottom pieces individually, so however you want it. But now I did ask them about the rear seats, and they didn't have covers for the rear seats. Did tell me that I could send them in some covers for the rear seats and they'd make them, but I didn't actually have the red seat covers at the time. I still have my factory ones, and I needed the red seats, and they're discontinued. So what I did was I went on Facebook Marketplace, and I seen if anybody was selling the rear seats, which is what I've got right here. There was somebody. I got so lucky getting the rear seats for the car because it's discontinued. Nobody reproduces the material for the back seats. So what I did is I did search eBay, and there was every once in a while a listing would pop up, but you had to buy like the whole interior set. Like one had the front seats, which the airbags had already been exploded, which the back seats don't have airbags. But if you are trying to track down interior pieces, junkyard pieces, the front seats typically are exploded from the airbags, and so you have to get the new seat upholstery from that one place. But these rear seats here, they were in North Carolina on Facebook Marketplace, cash only, pickup only at the door. And I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I've got a friend, just luckily enough, that lived in North Carolina, and I said, you know, hey, can I pay you? Can you go check these seats out, get them for me? And luck would have it, the seller on Facebook Marketplace was only 5 miles away from my friend, and so he was able to get the seats for me. And the reason the guy was selling the seats is because he didn't use the back seats. So I got really lucky on getting these seats. They're in great shape. And then not only that, but my friend had some friends of his that were driving up to Lexington, Kentucky, which is a little over an hour away from me, and he just sent the seats up with them, and so I got them shipped that way, real easy peasy. And all I had to do was drive a little over an hour away to pick the seats up. So talk about lucking in, I lucked in on that. Now this factory brick red interior with the white cashmere stripe upholstery, it's discontinued, but if you are looking for the part numbers, or you're trying to find NOS pieces that may still be existing, one thing to keep in mind when you're looking it up, the collar comes off as orange black, not red white. And it took me a while for this to dawn on me. Of course, you know, the red collar is kind of a brick red, orangish color. That makes sense. But why is it listed as orange black? Well, when you got the brick red interior on your Mustang, it came with black as far as the trim panels. And as you can see in my car, these are tan, they're stone color. So I'm not going to replace the plastic panels here. I'm going to leave them this tan stone color, but I'm replacing the seats and all the stuff that was trimmed in red. I'm replacing. So this will kind of be a one of none interior here. We'll see how it turns out. And as you can see on my interior anyway, these door inserts, and it's typical on these cars, it's sagging a little bit, and I've done re-glued this once before, so now it's just time to replace them with the red. And you can see here how it's going to look with the tan interior. Looks pretty cool to me. But like I said, if you did order the car from the factory with the red interior, this whole thing here would be black. And once I get done with doing the interior, I'll move on to the paint. You can see right here and here, this hood's got some issues. There's a lot of scuffs on the front bumper. And what had happened is, this is an aluminum hood and it's got corrosion. It's a common problem on these Mustangs these years. Like, I think 05 to 14 is where the problem area is. And the bumpers tend to have issues too. This one's more so from road damage and chips and stuff like that, whereas the back bumper here, a little different story. As you can see, the paint is all cracked off right in here. So those are issues that I'll address after I get the interior in this baby. And now to remove this sagging door panel insert, just gonna pull on it and it comes off pretty easily. If yours for some reason happens to be stubborn as far as getting it off, you may try using a hair dryer, heat it up a little bit, but you'll probably be able to get it off pretty easily. And then what's left is this glue residue. I'm gonna get a wire brush and I'm gonna get this stuff cleaned up. Now on the driver's side door insert, use a little screwdriver. This one isn't sagging, but look, when I pull this back, it's completely different than the passenger side. Notice I don't have all that glue back there. And look at the other side over there, it's covered in glue. Don't know what was going on there. We'll pull it off and get it ready for the new door panel insert. And off it comes. Now here are my old pieces. You can see the one on the left is from the passenger side door, and the one on the right is from the driver's side door. Why the difference, I do not know. Okay, so silly me, here is the issue with the driver's side door insert. The whole thing came off. You're supposed to have separated the skin from this felt-like backing here. So I'm gonna do that now. Treat it the same way. I'm gonna wire brush all this old glue off, and I'll have to glue this piece back on to the hard plastic and then put the door panel insert over top of that. All right, took me a minute to find my wire brush, but I got it. I'm gonna start working at it. It's coming off fairly easy. And now I'm gonna take my handy little shop vac here and get this mess cleaned up. And the other side here's got a little bit of adhesive left on it. Scuff it off. Now with the old panels removed, test fit these new panels or inserts from Coverlay. Looks like it's gonna fit really nice. And here's the passenger side. Now these Coverlay door panel inserts come with instructions and also this silicone rubber adhesive sealant. The instructions recommend taking the sealant and putting it in a cup of warm water or hot water. That'll help the sealant flow better. Also using an ammonia-based window cleaner on the back side of these door panel inserts to get them prepped for installation. We'll do some hot water. And we'll set that down right here. Put the adhesive in here. Let it get kind of warmed up. And I'll prep the door panel in. Alright, turn these over. Spray a little window cleaner on them. Wipe that around. Just get it cleaned. Now here are the 4-inch chrome, they're plastic Mustang emblems, and they got a peel off backing, and the ones I got, they came with little alcohol prep pads. They're gonna look good right about here. I was gonna go ahead and put these on before I installed the panels in the car, but I'm second guessing myself because of how this curves down. It might be better to put it in the car so I can get it oriented to where it looks right, instead of it might be a little off, bucking down, bucking up, or something like that. So use your judgment on that. You might want to put them on before, you might want to put them on after you fit them in the car. I decided I'm going to wait till I get these in the car first. Now the instructions say to apply the adhesive going around this edge here, around the perimeter of the door panel insert, and then also apply a bead across it. So that's what we're going to do now. All right, I got it ready to set in. I added a little bit extra, some up and down lines to it for the sealant, and I'm going to take it and install it now. And here we go, installing it. Kind of working it into those corners. I find it's best to kind of push up and try to eliminate as much of this gap as possible so you don't see the backing part. Just kind of push it in, and then I'm going to take some tape to hold it in place. It's going to take a while for this adhesive to really bond and set up. Now I got it taped up with some very wide painter's tape. I think that's you want to get the wide stuff. That's going to be the best to hold it in place. And also you want to kind of push on it, work it in place around the edges as best you can. It's what I'm seeing, it's not like a 100% perfect fit. And I think it'll look pretty decent. Unfortunately, I couldn't find like the exact factory original door panel inserts, so this is probably the next best thing to it. And we'll see how it turns out. And now here is the driver's side, all taped up, and he said make sure you push on these corners, these edges. It's not, like I said, 100% the best fit, but like I said, it's probably the best replacement piece on the market. Well, that's the only brand that I see manufacturing these repop ones. Maybe there's another one out there, I'm not for sure, but anyway, sometimes you take what you can get. We'll see how it turns out. All right, so here is the finished product after it's all bonded and everything, and it looks pretty decent, but as you can see, get a little bit closer here, there's quite a bit of a gap here. The rest of it's gapped pretty good. On the passenger side, the gap's a little bit tighter on the door insert as far as the fit. Now, if I was going to try a different way of doing the door panel inserts, I would probably go to a fabric shop and pick me out some vinyl or even leather, and just glue the back side of it to the insert backing in the door, and then trim around the edges with the razor blade or scissors, and I think that'd be a lot better fit, and I'm sure it'd be a lot cheaper than the coverlay door inserts. So you may want to try that first, see how that turns out before you decide to purchase the coverlay inserts, because the coverlay inserts, they have a plastic backing on it, so that's probably why the gaps are a bit bigger than normal, more than I would like. But anyway, So those are some suggestions. Hopefully that helps you out with your door panel insert replacement. And now to install the galloping horse emblems on the door inserts. Thinking about here it'd be pretty nice. I think that would look pretty good. Alcohol pad here that come with the horse emblems. And I'm just going to wipe in this area, let it dry, get it dried a little bit faster. There we go. And peel off the backing on this horse. Like so. Up. Alright, and it's ready to stick on. I want the horse right there. I'm going to just kind of stick it on loosely. That looks really, really good. So now I'm just going to press it on firmly. There we go. And if you want to get the other side the same, you can just kind of do some measurements and use some painter's tape, and that'll help you get it in the exact same spot on the other side. So I got some painter's tape on the emblem I just placed right above it, going up to this little almost like a corner area here, and I just fold it over the excess. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off. So this is going to be right in here, my top part going down. I'm just going to transfer it over to the other side and put the emblem on. Alright, so I've got the area already rubbed off with the alcohol pad and prepped, and I got the tape there from that I transferred from the driver's side door to the passenger side door. And we're just going to, for now, just place it up there, see how it's going to look. I've got the, just kind of look at the other side here. With the horse, look here, and just make sure that it looks close. I mean, if you want to be a real perfectionist, you can get your ruler out, your tape measure, and mark off areas a little bit more. But I think this is pretty much spot on. So all I need to do is peel the backing off and place it on. And now there's the other side, all pressed into place. Just remember, painter's tape is your best friend when installing these emblems on. And also, when you first put it on here, just barely put it up here, enough to hold it. Don't press it in until you get it exactly where you want it. And then once you got it exactly where you want it positioned, then push in it, press it in hard. And looks like it's sticking really good. Really happy with how this turned out. Back up a little bit, you can see it, the whole door, and it looks pretty awesome. So now to start swapping out the interior, I'm going to start with what I think is the easiest part to do first. Will be taking out the back seat here, and to do that you want to push on it a little bit. If I can get it with this camera. So there's a place where it locks in right there. And on this other side here, this place where it locks in, you gotta give it some little force there, and it just lifts up and out. And take that out of the way. And now it's on both these seat backs. I'm using a 13mm socket. And there's one on the other side. And let's see how it comes off. Lift up a little bit. Catches on something back there. And just lift up, pull the seat out. There we go. And looks like we got a little hang up because top is kind of connected here. I'll have to look at that. So as you can see, there's a channel here. I think they call it a J channel, whatever. But it locks in. One part of it is on the convertible top and one part of it is on the back seat. And you just kind of gently pull it apart like so. And that's how you get the back seat out. Now that I've got the original back seats out, I've kind of seen where there's an issue. The new back seats, they're individual pieces, whereas the old back seat, it's all one piece design here. Plus, if we look at the back side of these seats, there's no thing for the other channel to hook onto. So I don't know if we're going to run into any issues there. We're going to try to make this work. Now, the person that I bought the seats from, they gave me some brackets and some bolts here. So that probably will come in handy. We'll see how it all comes together. Well, as it turns out, I'm encountering some issues with how the back part of the back seats bolt up. As you can see, this piece here is flat on the old seats. And on the new seats, that same piece is not flat. It kind of comes out and then flattens out. So having issues with mounting these seats in the back, so I have to look into it some more. Alright pals, so my new upholstery, NOS upholstery that I ordered on eBay, I got lucky to find this. It's only one available, but it is for the convertible, and it's just the upholstery for the back seat. Right here. I'm going to redo this back seat with the new upholstery. Now, purchasing the red seat out of the hardtop Mustang was not in vain, because I'm going to use the bottom, and I'm actually going to use the headrests out of it and switch them over, because this upholstery does not have the upholstery for the headrest. But anyway, go ahead and pull it out of the box here. You see, there it is. And now, like a lot of you people out there, I have watched some videos on YouTube usually before I do these kinds of things. And as far as redoing the back seat upholstery, and as the timing of this video, I could not find a video showing how to redo the upholstery on the back seats. Seen them on the front seats of the car, but not the back seats. Now, what I have found when doing the search was how to remove and install these seats and how to do a rear seat delete, but none of the videos showed you how to take the upholstery off of your rear seat and put it on. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, at least as far as the back part is concerned. I don't need to do the bottom part though. But it looks kind of straightforward. There may be a few little things here and there. But there are some videos though, show you how to take the headrests off the back. As you can see, there's no visible releases. I've watched the videos that are on YouTube. Some of them show you just people yanking them off really hard. But that's not really the proper way to do it. The proper way is you want to take the upholstery off so far, and actually way down in here, you have to get your hands behind the foam. There is some releases for the headrest. All right, now to flip this over and let's get started on taking the upholstery off. Now the seat covers that I did order in the box over there, I ordered them on eBay, and the business I bought them through on eBay was called Grand Tex Auto Parts. They were the only ones that had a listing at the time when I was searching, so I don't know if they'll have any more available or not, but anyway, I scooped up the last one, if nothing else. Now to take this upholstery off, I see there's a bunch of these little channels here. You just kind of undo them like that. You might want to, a little hard to do one-handed with the camera. You might use a small screwdriver set the camera down somewhere, and you just want to kind of gently pull these apart here. Once you get so far down, it can be a pain. Maybe I should start at the top. Let's just try that. This is why they are kind of hard to get apart. You can see how they kind of hook in there together, a little notch way up in there. So you might want to get a little flathead screwdriver. That might help you. I'm going to give that a try now. All right, so it requires a lot of finesse to get this off of here. You can get it started, and it'll probably pinch your fingers. At least I'm getting it part of the way off. You don't got a whole lot of room to pull on it. Struggle is real with this one. There you go, I can slide it. There. I got one off. Don't know why they make these things so hard. Let's see if this one comes off easier now that I got a little slack in it. Here we go. All right, I got it going. Getting hung up along the way. Let's see if we can help it out. All right, so I didn't want to bore you with the long, boring part of me trying to get off this channel here. As you can see, I got some little hang-ups on here. Took me a while to unclip it, which should take that long. But apparently, I just don't have the finesse for taking these things off. But hopefully you do. And this other one, let's see, hopefully it'll pop off easily since I got more slack on it. Yeah, well, I can just slide that one off easy. And then we got our foam exposed here. We have these little pieces here, kind of stretched over. Just pull that up. These little ears, just pull that up there. Get that off. And come over here. And let's see. Okay, here is where the headrests are hooked into. Basically, it's the same as the front headrest. Now that they're exposed, you just kind of push in on the sides. There's a little release button. Hopefully I can do it. I almost need 3 hands, I feel like. So, there's one headrest out. I'm gonna grab it. There we go. A little bit easier than the J channels to do. Hopefully that is it for getting this upholstery off of here. Let's pull this off. Don't know if I've got anything else I might encounter. There's a little stuff there. Off the corner here. Okay, so it looks like it's got some Velcro right in here. I was kind of concerned it might have some hog rings. It doesn't so far. It's just Velcroed in these little channels. It's like peeling a banana. All right, now we can have some satisfaction. Now I've got these little black knobby things on the back. There's one there, there's one on the other side. I'm gonna see how these come off. It may just be kind of working it over, or it may, looks like it's might have to pull it off and then reinstall it. As you can see, it looks like a little thing. You kind of like a pop rivet, plastic pop rivet that holds that knob in place. So I'm gonna see what I can do there. Just gonna try and stretch this material a little bit. I think that'll get it off and over. Yeah, just kind of pulling it out like that. Just working around it gently, because you know, we'll save this. Maybe somebody else will have a need for it. And you can see I'm working it little by little. It's not tearing, so that's good. There we go. And now it is all off, and we are ready to put our new upholstery on the back seat. All right, so I got the new upholstery laid out face down, and here's my cushion and frame. I'm just gonna set that on there, and we're gonna take it from there. All right, so off camera I was kind of experimenting with how to best put this new upholstery on. I mean, it's not really stretched out. I tried pushing it around this little black plastic knob thingy, and it's really hard to stretch it. The other side, I just tried pulling this foam back and taking the thing out, which I was successful doing. And what it has is this little black plastic pin in the center, and it acts as a pop rivet. So basically you kind of gotta get this pin to come out a little bit, and then you gotta work these little tangs here, and use a pair of pliers. So far I didn't break it, which is good, because it's plastic, so you got to be careful with that. But I'll try to show you getting the other one out then. So I got these pliers here, and I'm just going to take the pliers and push in right on this pin on the center, and as you can see, it pops right out. So that'll make this job easy. And from there, I just take these pliers and just kind of push together on the little tabs on the back. It's kind of hard to do filming it, but that's what you do. Just be careful. It's plastic, not to break it, but just give it a little finesse, push in on it, and then you'll have to pull on it too as you're doing it. You should be able to get it out a couple tries, maybe more than a couple tries. All right, so I got that one out, and it's not broke, so good. Reuse it, easy peasy. And now we're ready to start putting the new upholstery on this seat. All right, so first thing we want to do, and I've already got it done here, is get it all kind of stretched up over the corners. Get it ready to see the holes here. Okay, everything kind of lined up. These little earpieces here, they go over here. Stretch them on here. And keep in mind, this is new material, so it's gonna be a little hard to work with. All right, I think about got it. This one needs to go on here again. I'll get it here eventually. All right, so I got both little ears on over the mounting parts, and now to stick these in. This could give me some issue here. This is pretty thick stuff. So I've got it sitting there. Let's see what happens when I push the pin in. It locks it in place. Nope, it's not in there. Alright. Let's reset and try again. I'm having to really push down on it. That time did it. This is kind of a thick material, so you're gonna have to push on it. quite a bit. And it's only going to go the one way because you got two holes. A little small piece here goes at the top. Stick it down in there. You can kind of feel it catch, and then you push the pin in. So simple process to get them in once you get the finesse of it. And now here comes the really fun part of it, stretching it, getting all these channels connected. Hopefully they go on easier than they came off, but knowing me and my luck with this project here, it's going to take quite a bit of finesse because they're not going to want to stretch very easily. That one's just snapping in on there. All right. These things really pinch your fingers, so be careful. I like how it got that snap sound, so you know it's locked in place there. All right, now to do the top channel. Now, as you can see here, there are two channels here. This piece connects to this piece where my finger's at. This other piece, this top piece here, connects to your convertible top once you put the seat in. This is where it's gonna be a challenge. Push it down little by little, work your way across. And hear that snap? It's locking into place. All right, well, folks, that seemed to go on easier than I thought it would go on. And there's all that. And let's flip it over, see how it looks. It is a little bit wrinkly. Might have to look up how to resolve that issue, but it's on there. And all right, so now that I've got my seat upholstery installed, you can see there's some wrinkles in it. So I'm going to take this hair dryer here, heat it up, see if I can get some of these wrinkles out. All right, so I've been taking a hair dryer and moving it around wherever I see these wrinkles. I've been kind of working it with my hand, stretching it out. I'm not an upholstery expert. Does seem like it's helping, but it's still a little bit wrinkly. It may just take some time for everything to stretch and get acclimated. So we'll see as time goes on if this wrinkliness goes away. Oh, and one more thing. It does help to stretch the foam back over the frame. I kind of took it apart a little bit to get those black knobs on the back of the seat on and off, well, off and on. So yeah, I kind of got the upholstery back on, and I realized, you know, this foam isn't quite stretched over the frame because I kind of pulled it back to take those pieces off. So just remember to do that before you put the upholstery back on. It'll save you a little bit of grief. But anyway, just letting you know. And now for a little nitpicky thing I'm going to do, and I'm sure you would do the same thing too, since my interior on my Mustang is already tan. As you can see, the headrest here has a button on here, it's tan. And you go over to the red interior, it has a black button on it. So what I'm going to do is swap out the upholstery on the headrest. And let me take you over to the car itself here. As you can see, tan interior. When I redo these front seats, obviously this is going to go back on and it's tan. That's tan right there. And I'm not going to go swap those out for black too. So the easier way to do it is just to swap out those headrests from the red to the tan, and that way the buttons will match the rest of the accents on the interior. Now to swap out the upholstery on the headrest, you got to turn it over, and basically there's a little J channel in here. I don't have the best luck with these things, but we'll try pulling it apart here. Just kind of gotta curl it up somewhat. I don't know really how to best tell you to do it. Take some finesse. There we go. Kind of pushed one thumb here and one thumb here, and I got it started. And this one is actually coming off pretty easy once you get it started right. And you just want to pull it back. Pull it off of both sides here. Get it over the foam. And then you pull it down like you're peeling a banana. And then you'll get to this button part here. And you can just kind of pull it over. It's not too hard. Don't worry about taking the button out. And then I'll just do the same on this red upholstery here and transfer it over to here. Alright, so I got the channel undone on the red, and I'm not going to take this seat apart just to pull the headrest out. So I'm just going to pull this flap here out like that, and then all I do is work it over the top here. I'm gonna have to put the camera down to do that, but it's the same as the tan headrest that I just showed. Now to reinstall it here, I'm just gonna start by working the upholstery over the top of it. Get it down on there. Try that. Actually, you can take the foam off. It'll be easier to get these edge pieces on. There we go. And to get this back on here, we're just going to kind of work it around the edge. Go around it in a circle. It'll take you a couple tries. Just kind of push it down. You want it to kind of go right underneath that trim there. And there it is. It's on now. Foam and sides over it good. And let's see. Easier said than done. Alright, so I had to put the camera down for a second to figure out how to get these channels back together. But basically you want to line them up as best you can, and then you want to push them down in there with your finger. The hard press, you'll hear a snap if you got it right. Now I got my headrest upholstery transferred over. Honest to goodness, this tan button here, let's see, looks like it's a good close match to the little white cashmere stripe here. I mean, close, not exactly the same, but interesting enough, and I think it'll look good. You may prefer the black interior accents, I don't know, but I think this is going to turn out great. So now I'm about to get started on changing out the steering wheel in the car and also the front seats in the car. And before I do that, for safety, I want to disconnect the battery and give it a significant amount of time to drain all the stored energy out of the car. You can also, be extra safe, you can also find the fuse for the airbags and pull that out as well. Now, the front seats are the only ones that have the airbags, not the rear seats. So I'm going to use an 8mm socket to disconnect the cable. Alright, so here we go with our steering wheel removal. There's a plug here and there's a plug on the other side, and we're just going to pop these little pieces out. And it seems like it doesn't want to pop out that easy. Okay, well that was an epic fail. It went inside the steering wheel, but I can retrieve it once I remove it. And here's one on the other side here. Well, that one came out the right way. Maybe I should have used a smaller screwdriver. Now that we got the plugs out of the way, there's two 8mm bolts. Just need to undo them, and that'll get the airbag out of the way. I'll show you in a second here. These little magnetic wand tools can come in quite handy for getting the bolt to come out once you got it loose. There we go. And now to loosen the other side. Now that we got the two bolts out of the way, this thing will just pull back. And there's our airbag. And we got two wires we got to disconnect. Now on these wires, you'll push in on the little tabs on the side, and it'll just pull straight out. And there's our airbag out of the way. And one thing to note that'll help you with reinstalling them, just so you don't get them mix matched. This is gray, this is black. Look on the back of your airbag, gray and black, so they're color coded. Now the next thing we have to do before we disconnect or unbolt the steering wheel is we got to disconnect this wiring harness right here. Just push in on the little tab and pull it out. That's your main connector there. And now we just need to get that bolt, which is a 24mm bolt. Now to get the bolt loose. And out the bolt comes. Now this bolt here is what's called a torque to yield bolt, yield to torque. Anyway, in layman's terms, it is a one use only bolt because it stretches and that compromises the integrity of the bolt. So what you want to do, you're going to go to your Ford parts dealer, get you a new steering wheel bolt with the washer and replace it with the new one. Do not use the old one. Alright, so here's the new steering wheel I'm about to install, and obviously I can't transfer the buttons over. As you can see, this is set up differently. There's some gray silver trim pieces that go on these spokes, and then you'll have the cruise control buttons, all of them on one side, and then you have music control buttons on this side, which those will not work because it did originally come with the sound buttons, but I've heard you can have them reprogrammed to work. The cruise control should work from what I've read online. As you can see on the old steering wheel, you've got on and off for cruise, and then you've got the set and reset buttons for the cruise control. But anyway, just pull this off. Be careful not to move the clock spring around, and then reinstall the new one. Out with the old. You got to watch the take the wire through for the airbag. Set that aside. And now we'll just thread our airbag in here. Line it up. Set it on there. Now, here's the brand new bolt that goes in the steering wheel. I'm just going to get it started. Alright, reinstalling this little wiring harness piece. I got it lined up. Push it in place. Now you want to take your torque wrench here and you want to tighten this bolt down to 41 foot-pounds of torque. And a little trick here is, if you need help tightening it down, turn the steering wheel till it locks in place. Then you can torque the bolt down easier, and then you can just use your key and unlock it. The battery's off, so there's no power on. So that's a good way to do it. Like so. Alright, so now we got the new goodies to install on the steering wheel. Now this is a Motorcraft part, brand new. And I got those on Rock Auto. This is the cruise control buttons, so that's going to hook into this left side here. And just snaps right in place. There we go. And here's the music volume control buttons that won't work, but they, as far as looks, they need to be in here. Now, like I said, you could probably have somebody reprogram it to work with the new steering wheel. And those will just fit in place right in here and here. And now we have the trim pieces for the steering wheel that I bought from Quirk Parts. They're brand new, and as you can see, they're made in Mexico. There's one, and you got this plastic you got to take off. This one is, they come in letters at the end, A, B, and C. This is C, so this one goes at the bottom because it's a very thin right here, so it's not enough room for the controls to go through. And just stick it on there. Now this thing should just pop right in place. I'll show you how it's on the back here. It's got these little things that go in the holes here. Takes a little finessing to get them in. Should just be able to kind of push it. You might have to use a little bit of pressure, and voila, it's in. On to the next piece. So here I have trim piece ending in leather, ending in letter B. I just got to take the plastic off of it. And what we'll do is looks like, see, may slide in here. Looks like it slides in here. So your buttons will kind of pop, snap. You'll hear a little snap. They will go into the trim piece, and then your trim piece just kind of work in to the steering wheel. Push it in, pops in, voila! We got that side taken care of. And lastly, we got letter A. Just removing the film here. Alright, take this, get it in place. You hear the little clicks, and then we kind of got to angle it back and then push it on the steering wheel here. There we go. Well, that's really shaping up now. All I just got to do is put the airbag back in. Just remember, when you do the airbag, it's color coded, so black and gray to black and gray, or black to black, gray to gray. All right, so reinstalling the airbag. Make sure your emblem is upright, and all you gotta do is take the wires, push them down. You hear a little faint click into place, and like double check, make sure the collar is going to the same collar. And then you just push it in there. All right, now just reinstall these 8mm bolts. It's a little hard to hold with my fingers, so what I'm going to do is take this long socket, hopefully I'm finding the hole, I think I am, and just get it started. And now just tighten it down. Alright, so now that the other side is tightened down, we just take our plug and plug it back in. And push it. There we go. Just like that. That covers the hole. Do the same for the other side. And a little tip, when you're bolting the airbag back on, you might push on the horn button here to line up your holes better when you bolt those 8mm bolts back in. Now, after installing the steering wheel, I bolted the battery cables back up, and I took it for a spin, make sure everything was working all right. The horn button works, so that tells me I guess the main wiring harness is connected properly, but I could not get the cruise control buttons to work. I drove the car up to speed like above 40 miles an hour. There should be, like when you push the on button on the cruise control, should be a little green icon light up on the dash. That did not happen. I could not get the cruise control to work, so I'm probably going to have that reprogrammed if I want that cruise control working in my car. All right, so I'm in the midst of reinstalling the new back seat, or new upholstery on the old back seat, I should say. And just remember, when you reinstall it, to put your J channels back together where the convertible top meets the back seat. I found it helpful to have the top down when I do this. And then you got two 13mm bolts, just need to be tightened down, and you should be good to go. And then just install the bottom part. Now, before I put the seat bottom back in the car, I've oriented the seat belts here upright so they'll go through the holes, because if you don't, then it's kind of hard to fish them out. So just have them upright and ready to go back through the holes. And all the back seat does is, once you get it in there, it snaps in place. Right here, there's little holes on both sides. All right, now here we go with the bottom part. Kind of want to angle it like this. A little bit of a tight fit. And then you're going to reach in, get those seat belts, Where are they at? Must have moved around on me. Yep. All right. Now it should snap into place. Kind of have to push it back in there a little bit. All right. Now our seat is locked in. And check out how beautiful that looks. So back seat's down. We still got the front seats to go though. All right, so now it's time to get to work on the front seat upholstery. So I'm going to start by showing you how to remove the front seats. So the front seat, we want to slide it all the way to the back. And we got 2 bolts up here on the front. They're 13mm. So we'll just undo these. So this bolt here decides it wants to be very stubborn, so I'm going to slide this plastic vacuum cleaner hose accessory, little shop vac thing, I think, over it, or you could use a pipe or whatever, and that'll give you some more torque on this bolt here. And that broke it loose. All right, got that out of the way. Now to get the back bolts out, slide the seat forward, and we'll put that forward so I can show you better. Get those old paper towels out of the way. We got 2 little plastic covers. You take those off and then you'll expose the bolts. They're just kind of slide back. Let me see. There's always a little trick to these things. All right, so the trick to these things is you gotta kind of lift up a little bit and work it back. Slides back somewhat. There we go. And it just kind of pops off. You can see there's this little clip right here that kind of holds it in. And you do the same on the other one over here. And there's that one. Look, I found a little quarter while I'm at it. Now, this should cover the 2005 to 2014 Mustangs as far as the seat removal and installation. And another thing too, I've already got the battery disconnected on this car because it does have airbags in the seat. And we're going to pull that connection next. All right, so as you can see under here, there's 2 wiring connectors. The kind of resets back in there. So what I need to do first is unloosen these 2 back bolts here. They're 16mm, and then I can probably get the seat up more further to where I can better access the wiring. Now let's move the seat up a bit more. Okay, so I can't really work at it like this for me anyway, so I'm going to move the seat, kind of center it. I'm going to come in the back side with one hand and then the front side with the other hand, and then that should make it easy to pull the wiring apart. Just got to take my thumb on this little yellow one, push in on the right side, and then slide the piece out with my hand coming from the front side of the seat. And then there's this big wiring harness right here. I'm gonna see how it comes out. I'm sure I gotta push somewhere. Okay, so now the big one's out. Now the big wiring harness in there, it came out basically there's a tab on the top center of it, and you push in and you pull out with the hand coming from the front of the seat, and you push on it too with that hand, and then it comes out. It's a little tricky on that one. The yellow one came out a lot easier. Now I'm gonna upright the seat and carefully remove it from the car. And I've got you want to have a nice big work area for when you work on this. So I'm gonna take it inside the garage and work on it. Time to pick up some coins while I'm at it. And this will be a great opportunity to clean all this area up too while you have the seat out. All right, so I got my seat laid out behind me on some cardboard. You may want to put it on a table. You may prefer doing that, but I'm just going to work on a piece of cardboard. And you want to wear safety glasses when you do this, because you're going to be working with hog rings, and when you snap those puppies off, they could come flying at your face. So be safe, wear these, or just wear them when you're doing the hog ring part. And also, when you're doing these seats, they have very sharp edges. Be careful. You might want to wear gloves intermittently when you're working on it. And as far as the tools you'll need for redoing the upholstery on this seat, I've got some trim removal tools. There's those, and I've got those little pry bars. I may not need those. I also got some hog ring pliers. I've got some snips and some needle nose pliers. And you're going to need a Torx 20-bit, T20 bit. And you're going to need the Torx bit to take this part off here. There's a little Torx bit there. So let's get started on disassembling the upholstery. All right, so first and easiest thing to do, push in on the buttons right below the headrest, and we'll remove the headrest. Just kind of work it up. Simple stuff right there. And we'll put this aside. Now on the bottom here, there's some upholstery that needs to be unclipped. You can see the little channel here. This was already unclipped as I pulled it out, so I'll have to fool with that. A little bit of Velcro to undo right there. All right, I'm gonna flip this seat on its back. See what we got going on underneath. Where we need to unclip stuff. We got some material to unclip here. And watch your fingers, because it's sharp edges. Be careful when you're pulling this off of the frame here. All right, that takes care of that. All right, so it looks like we got a little thing to unclip here in the front. So just take your time so you don't get yourself cut on anything sharp. And this just kind of, you pull it with your fingers towards you, and it kind of unhooks. There we go. We got that part off. Now to get this side off, I gotta get this lever and try to pull it out a bit if you can, so you can see there's a ring kind of clip in there. I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but you're gonna have to take some pliers to pull that off. All right, so the clip here's the clip. It's kind of like a horseshoe shaped clip that holds the lever on here. I use some pliers. It's hard to see, and it's kind of hard to get at. That's why I didn't film it, but that's what it looks like. You just kind of work on it, and then it should just slide right off. And we can just, so we don't lose it, just stick this clip right back in its place. There we go. So it's on there now. And when we get ready to reinstall it, just push it right back in. And now to take off this plastic trim. All right, I'm gonna set the seat back up again. All right, so down here, we're gonna need a little Phillips head screwdriver to get that. Get in here, and the screw's off. Now to get this trim panel off here, you just kind of pull off. Just kind of have to work it from the back to the front. this last little clip wants to be a little picky. Alright, we got them all off. There's another one of these hook things for the material here. And we've got got one of these little tabs here. They call it a Christmas tree tab. And we're going to use this trim removal tool to get it out. Just get underneath of it with this. And it comes right out. About got the bottom seat upholstery out. And as you can see for this little metal clip here, that's where the plastic side piece clipped into. There's a couple of them. There's another one there. Alright, so now I'm just going to kind of roll this fabric back. And there's some Velcro right here that holds it in place, in the grooves, you could say. And as we go further along, let me show you here real quick. This is a little metal rod that runs across, and there's some hog rings in there. We're going to have to snip those off. There's at least 3 of them in there. So I'm going to take a pair of snips so we can keep on unrolling this fabric. And this is important. This is where you want to wear these safety glasses, because when you snip these, they could come off very easily and fly at your face. I think I'm going to need one more heavy duty snips to get these. Alright, last one. These snips are kind of driving me nuts because the rubber grips on it keep wanting to slide up. Alright, that one kind of snipped up. I'm going to have to be kind of careful getting this off of here. I don't want to tear my foam up, and preferably not tear up the old fabric either. Might have to use some needle nose to kind of bend the rest of the hog ring back a little bit. Just being really careful here. Maybe I'll make another cut off of this. I think that's a big enough gap to get it through. Let's see. Alright, center part's off. Now to get this last piece off here. Bending it up. Alright, so I got that off. Now we can proceed with pulling it back further, and there's that's all the hog rings on the bottom part. So what you do want to do is you want to make sure to get the old hog ring out. It helps to have a trash can or a grocery bag close by, and take you some pliers, pull out the old stuff. And let's see if this magnetic tool may help too. Use a little magnetic wand. That'll help you get out some of the little fragments. Here's what the hog ring looks like. It's just crimped onto a little, well, onto the upholstery and then onto a little metal rod that holds it in place. Toss it in the trash. There's another piece there. All right, that looks like that's all good there. And now we need to pull this upholstery on through here. All right, so I got the seat laying on its front because we want to get this upholstery slid through in between the top and the bottom. And there's a little one of these Christmas tree clips. Using the trim removal tool, we just kind of get underneath of it, pull it up. There it comes. And I'm just going to stick that back in there so I know where it goes. There we go. Let me show you something over here. This upholstery on this corner here, it's kind of like a ear. You just got to slide it off right there. So that's just a little like sleeve for it. Now we should be able to kind of work this upholstery back through here. Lift it upright. Little tug. Stuck Velcro and it's off. Now when you're redoing the upholstery, you may want to redo your foam too if it's in bad shape. I think mine is in pretty decent shape. I'm going to leave it alone. But just keep that in mind when you're redoing upholstery. If you need new foam, that'll be the time to redo the foam too. All right, moving to the back side. I know I'm a little all over the place with this video, but so you don't mar up your finish under this plastic, use one of these like nylon pry tools, and to get this little handle off here, comes out easy. Just stick it in there and it slides right out. A little knob. And then you got a Torx T20 bolt right here. And we're just going to unscrew that. And that came off really easy. I'm just going to stick that little bolt in for the time being. Screw it in there a little bit. That way I don't lose it. Let's try to work this upholstery out. Found another clip I need to take out. Right over here, you can see one of those black Christmas tree things. Let me go get my trim piece, or trim removal tool. All right, slide it under. Boom, it's out. Looks like it's kind of caught in between metal. And while I'm thinking about how to get that upholstery out, there's another one of these little push-in clips I need to take out on this side here. Get the seat belt out of the way. All right, there we go. Got a clip. It's one of those J-channel types. Right here. Roll that back and unclip it. Yeah. There we go. Kind of roll that back with your fingers. Now that's unclipped there. So this piece is going to stay on. And then you're going to work your upholstery up. And This is the area where it wants to be stubborn with me, because as you can see, it's kind of part of it's wedged in between those two pieces of metal. I don't have much of an area to yank on it. I don't know why it's wedged in there like that. Okay, so where this little flap of upholstery is caught in between the metal, there's two bolts here. They're 16 millimeter. I'm gonna unloosen it a little bit, not take it off, and hopefully I can get that little bit of upholstery undone. Enough to where I can pull it out. There we go, and it is free now. Should be able to kind of pull it away. And I can tighten those bolts back up before I forget. Next thing we need to do, actually this piece needs to be pushed through between the two pieces of foam here. So I'm going to work on doing that. Alright, so I'm just going to try and work this bottom flap on through here in between the top and bottom. I help to start at one end. Kind of one hand on one side, one hand on the other. Start at one end and work your way across. And once you get it going, relatively simple. All right, now hopefully we can start pulling this thing up. I don't know if there's any more hang-ups. The upholstery is a little bit pinched in here for something, or caught on something. Oh yeah, let me show you what's going on now. The upholstery is caught on this little metal tab here. You just want to slide that over that way, and the other side is the same way. So you just want to take it, pull it over that metal. Now should be ready to pull it up. Just kind of work it from the bottom, side to side, and you're going to have Velcro. And when we get to the horizontal crease, we're going to have some hog rings, I believe. Alright, so hog rings are kind of in there. There's 3 places where they're at. And so we're just going to go snip, snip, snip. I swear I need better snips. There's one. These snips are more or less bending the hog rings and not really cutting them. But either way, I'm getting them out. There's another one. Still got 3 more to go as they doubled up on them. Well, it's stuck to the upholstery. I'm not going to worry about it. It's undone. And I'm just going to keep working this material up. Excuse me. All right, so as you can see, the final bosses, the last 3 doubles of hog rings. And do the same thing, snip, 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 or pry them apart or something. And if they do like cut, just make sure you get all the little metal fragments out, because you don't want them running your new upholstery. Alright, that took long enough. Now we can just keep rolling this on back till we get to the little headrest area. Make sure you got all the little metal particles, little hog ring remnants out. That's why this metal, or this magnet tool comes in handy. And it looks like I've got everything out. Alright, so when pulling this material up, be mindful of this lever and pull it over that lever. And I've already got one of these, they're headrest guides. I already got one out, and it was hard to figure out how to do it. I seen a video where they took a screwdriver in like a flathead, I think, and were just able to pull it out like nothing. I didn't have the same luck, but I watched another video, and since I've got the upholstery up, I got access to the back side. So I'm going to lay the seat down, and I'm going to show you what I did to get the seatbelt guide out, and maybe you'll try that, and that'll be helpful to you. All right, let's see if we can see. All right, so right in here is the bottom of the seat, or the headrest guide. And what I saw in one video is they took a 12mm socket and you put it on like this is a little drive thing, like a screwdriver handle, and tap on it, put it on there, and then tap on it with a hammer, or yeah, a hammer, and should be able to hammer it out. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Took me a while to hammer the thing out. And once it's out far enough, you can just pull it from the other side out with your hands. It's still got a little bit more to go. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, it's still in there, still pretty good. So we'll have to keep hammering away at it. I think it's one of those things that requires finesse. Still got a little bit more to go. There, it feels like it went through. Check it. Yep, it's coming. All right. And there you have it. We have the other one out. And just set the seat back up. Tool out of the way. Try to get it. On the cardboard there. Alright. Now the removal part is done. And now it's time for the brand new leathers. Now, I purchased these seat covers, well, upholstery, because they don't actually cover it. This is new upholstery. From US Auto Seat Covers. It is made in the USA. These are leather seat covers. And I bought them through eBay. And like I said, the manufacturer is US Auto Seat Covers. And they've got the pattern down. This is the only company that I could find that actually reproduces this pattern for the brick red interior with white cashmere stripe on the Mustang. And you turn it over on the back. It's got the pocket in the back. You can put all your goodies in on the back side of the seat. I bought the full front seat set, so it's top and bottom, driver passenger side. Now they did not have the upholstery for the rear seats, but they do have it for the front seats. But they don't have it for the headrest. So if you need a back or a bottom new upholstery, they've got it. You can buy it all together. You can buy the individual pieces if you want. You just want the top piece or the bottom piece, you can do that too. But this is about ready to go on the car, or ready to put it on the seat. Now, as you can see, it doesn't have the holes cut in it for the headrest or the lever on the back side. So you will have to do some cutting. That's the unfortunate part about this. But hey, at least somebody offers the replacements. Alright, now normally these upholsteries anyway, normally the upholstery comes in a driver's side and passenger side. I've looked this over. It wasn't noted on the upholstery which side it was, and it all looks the same. There's no cutouts on it as far as your headrest and your lever, so you'll have to cut that out. So as far as the back piece goes, and I haven't got to the bottom parts yet, as far as the back piece goes, looks like they're universal, either driver or passenger side. Now I had these heated up at an upholstery shop. They have a little contraption. Hopefully that makes it easier to go on. You may try a hair dryer at home. And when we start this, we're going to turn this inside out and start from the top. That took a bit of wrangling, but the easy way to tell once you got it inside out which way it goes where is you look at the stripe on this particular upholstery here, and the stripe is going to be on the front side, not the back side. So I'm going to kind of get it on here. Actually, it might be better to have just a little bit of the upholstery flipped over and get it back out. Okay, let's see if we can get it started on here. Get it on going the right way. I'm going to work it from side to side, and you'll also going to line up your Velcro strips here. Now, when you take off the old upholstery, if the strips had come off, you probably use like some 3M adhesive to re-glue your strips back onto the foam. Mine fortunately did not come off, so I don't have that issue. And now I'm just going to kind of work this over the top here and down. Looks like it's going to turn out pretty good. It's a little wrinkled up. I think that'll eventually work itself out. Probably needs to be in the sun or something. Now to pull it back up, put some hog rings on it. Gently pull it back up, side to side. Alright, we got it to this flap here. Is that we're going to run the hog ring. I'm going to run 3 hog rings into this flap and then onto the little bar. It's kind of wedged down in there in the foam. But you'll see the holes from the old hog rings in there, and it'll let you know where to snap them down at. And right now I'm just kind of getting this tight on the top here. And I'm going to set the seat on the ground. Now make sure your work area is pretty clean, free of any metal shards before you set it down, because you don't want to damage your new upholstery. Alright, now this is my first time working with hog rings and hog ring pliers. From what I understand, you just insert it in here, in between, and it kind of spring-loaded to an spring-loaded. Basically what you're doing is you're crimping this thing on there, kind of like you'd crimp an electrical connection. And over here, we're going to have to line everything up. Alright, so now we got everything kind of in place. We're going to want to get one edge of it underneath the little rod that it's going to go on to. It's more difficult than I had imagined. Maybe I can just kind of push it through this material first and then get it on there. I think that might be the best way. Now there's no holes already made in this little flap here, so you're going to have to make your own hole. I'm just going to make sure everything's lined up pretty good. I kind of know where I'm going with this. See if I can punch a hole in it. May have to cut a hole in it. I think you're going to have to make the hole first before you can install this. Alright, I pushed the hog ring through. Now, oh, phone. Let me get that. Alright, now back to it. That was a friend, not a scammer. So Sunday, I would hope the scammers would take a break from calling, and apparently they do. Now we gotta get the hog ring back in the pliers without pinching ourselves. And you're gonna have to, looks like, push down really hard to get to it. Not quite sure how they got it way down in there. It's a royal pain, let me tell you. There we go. So now I got it through the fabric and on the little rod that it goes on. Now I'm going to try to work my pliers in there and smash it down on it. Gonna have to really push into this foam. I don't like doing that, but all right, gotta center it down on there. Hopefully this will get it. I think I got it that time. Yay! So this might take some practice getting it on, because you got to really push it down in there. And like I said, I'm a little concerned with, you know, messing up the foam that's there. But I got it down on there. I can maybe get it a little bit tighter. Give it another go at it. Like I said, go at it till you feel like it's on there good. And then move on to the next one. All right, so I've got this first row of 3 hog rings put on here. I didn't want to bore you because it's very tedious and it's going to take me quite a while, and it'll probably take you quite a while if you're not experienced with these things to install these hog rings in there. I said I first had to make a hole, puncture a hole in the flap because it did not come with holes already in it. And I hooked one end of the hog ring to that hole, and I hooked the other hog ring onto this little red metal rod, or some kind of rod there, and it's kind of deep in there, so I was kind of having to use my fingers and get it to catch and push down. So it took me a while, and then I had to take the pliers and really get in there and line it up right, and keep, you know, messing up a little bit here and there. Had to really dig deep to get it crimped on, but finally got it. Feels pretty secure to me, and so I'm just gonna press on down to the next row of hog rings. All right, so I had to stop myself before I went on to the next hog rings because I found a little issue I just thought about. Now, I got to cut the places out for the lever. I can see it poking through right here, so I know where to cut that out. But on the top, there's padding, and you can't feel the holes. So I'm going to go, well, I got access, I'm going to take a long screwdriver and run it up through there so I can locate my holes and go ahead and cut them out for my headrests. So as you can see, there's a hole right there. And I'm just going to look at the other upholstery because, you know, if you move the screwdriver around, you could get it a little off. So I'm going to look at the other upholstery just to see kind of where I need to be. All right, so I feel pretty comfortable about the spot. I'm just going to make a little incision. Now the guide will cover up quite a bit, so I'll just make a small incision and go from there. If you need to cut it a little bit more later on, once you get the rest of the seat done, you can. Alright, so I got a little dimple where it's going to be, and I'm just going to make a puncture right there. And I'll do the same thing for the other part of the headrest. Alright, now that I got my holes punctured out here, I want to continue on taking the fabric on down. All right, same procedure here. We got the flap, we got this little red rod there, there's the cross. So I'm not gonna bore you with doing the hog rings on that, but just so you know, there's 3 across here, 1, 2, and 3. And same procedure as the ones previous. All right, so I got those 3 hog rings in place. Now I did mix up my technique a little bit this time. It seemed to go faster. I just took and kind of tacked what you would call maybe tack them in place. And then I went by and crimped them down one by one. And like I said, that seemed to help the process go faster, at least for me. You might try it. Now to get this all rolled down, since it's all secured. Working from side to side. Slowly but surely. And about got the top, or the top part, back part on here. And what we'll do is we'll take this little plastic J channel, we'll have to slide it back through to the other side. So take your other hand and start pulling it through from side to side, just the reverse of what we did to take it out. Alright, and now I kind of just want to press on all these little grooves, get that Velcro fastened down, and it's looking really good. Got a couple of things to connect, and that part should be done. We can move on to the bottom part. So we'll take those guides and stick them in. Alright, so here are the headrest guides that go back in the seat. Now on the other seat, they're oriented with the button going towards the door, both of them. Now as you can look closely, you can see the buttons are different. This one's got some little indentions in it, sticks out a little bit further. This one will go closest to the door, and this one will go furthest from the door, but the buttons will face, since this is the passenger side, they're going to face this way when I put them in from the top. Alright, so I had to waller out this hole a little bit more. I got it to where the button's facing the door. This is passenger side. So I'm going to try pushing it down in there. I may have to use the hammer to get it to click in. I don't know. But I think it might be hammer time. It may be in there, it might just be like depressed, because I probably have to cut it out a little bit more or something to get it to come up flush. It looks like it's in there, or it should be. I'm gonna have to make a little bit of more of an incision in there. So you get that upholstery up and around that. Be careful so you don't cut too much. What I might try is getting a little hook tool and pulling it up that way. I rated Captain Hook's tool chest. I got this little doodad here. It's a little hook tool. I'm gonna just kind of go in there and see if I can pull the leather up and over the guide here. I have to work it around in a circle or something. I'm going to try another little tool, this little angle pick. Maybe that'll help better. Alright, so I finally got the material to kind of puff up around. Maybe I could do just a hair better to kind of work with it. But this little pick with a little bit of angle to it did the job. And I wanted to show you another little tip. On the headrest, you can see there's notches. They're only on one side. That's going to be the side where the button pushes on, and it's going to go on these notches here. Make sure I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. Alright, so no, I was wrong. The notches go opposite. I was surprised to see that, and I didn't pay attention to how they came off, but I was surprised to see that they go opposite of the button, the notches do. So you can see, if you look in there, there's a little piece that pushes in and out that locks it. And as you can see, it's not on the same side as that little piece that locks it. But it looks like I can just easily turn this one around. Now it's in there the right way. So lucky me, it turned around easily, maybe because I took it out and stuff and worked with it. But this is how it's supposed to be oriented. So it's the same on each side. So the driver's side, the button faces the door, and the passenger side is the opposite. So that's how that works. All right, now time to do the other side here. Punch it on through. Probably have to help it go down. There we go. Now I got to give it a little tap-tap-a-roo. Push down on it. This one's setting up a little bit higher than the other one, so I got to go a little bit further down with it. I'm just going to go ahead and test the headrest. Make sure everything is good to go. I've already got one from a donor card that's red. Let's have another go at it, shall we? Make sure. First I'm going to take a flashlight down inside of it. It should, if there's any material that got in there, it should go straight through. So give another go at it and then see what the problem is if it doesn't work then. There we go. Second time is a charm in this case. So know our headrest is going to work. Don't pull it out and fix the upholstery on the other side of the guide. Right, now that we got our upholstery down, there's a J channel I pulled through between the two seats, or top and bottom of the seat, and we got to hook this J channel to that one, and that's going to be kind of a stretch. See what I can do to get it on there. What I might do first is cut this little area here. This is for the lever to recline the seat back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So right now it's at, you can feel it's at the lever's at the bottom, and then the slot goes up to about here. So I'm going to start cutting a hole for it. Maybe that'll give me a little bit more slack to get those two channels together. Alright, so we want to get it around that little Torx thing. Get it. The little trim piece will cover it pretty much. So you can be cut a little outside of it. Just be really careful you don't cut too much. Where's this thing stop at? Right about there. Keep cutting until you can kind of pull it over the grooves. Get that down. Let's see if that helped to slack any. Man, so close, but so far. Alright, so I got this seat in a little bit better position for me. I can pull on this a little bit more, stretch it out towards me. And hopefully we can get these channels connected. Looks like it's going to work now. There it goes. Alright, now that back part is clicked into place. Now I gotta figure out on here what all this other stuff, how it matches up on here, which I'm not quite for sure. Might have to make some more holes or something. Alright, now to put the trim back on here and the knob back on here. First got to take out the little T20 bit. Get that out of the way. Now situate this on here. Alright, so you just kind of hook this on at the top, push it in there, and then get your screw ready. Screw this back in place. And it's tight and cinched down on there. Now we take our knob and stick it back on there. Oh, that was just a little bit that fell out. Alright, so now we got the knob back on. Alright, so now the part to figure out is, I got this kind of piece here. There's no holes in it where any clips would go, and also back here there's no Velcro. So this area here differs quite a bit from the original seat upholstery. I believe this is probably going to have to be pulled through, and as you remember on the upholstery that came off, the little earpiece came over this metal tab here, just kind of slid in. There was a slit in it, so I probably will have to cut a slit in it, but for now I'm going to slide it in there, and then I'm going to tackle the bottom seat area before I make my decision on making a slit in this and then attaching it here. But I think that's how it goes, so we'll slide it through, and before I finish, I'll decide whether to make a hole in it or not. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of run this piece up through here and catch it with my fingers. Pull it through. Run it around this foam here. So this looks like where this should go is right over here. Make a slit in it. Like I said, I'm not entirely for sure, so I'm just going to pull it through for now, and I'm going to get the other side, pull it through, and then I'm going to do the seat bottom. Alright, I got that slid through. Now we'll turn it over again. Alright, so I've got my seat bottom that I took off. Now the new seat bottoms, here's one. These are specific to driver and passenger side. As you can see, this is the back, and with just the leather is the front. But where it differs is the sides here. So you've got this big channel here, you got this big channel here. On the other side, it's got the little small channel here, little small channel here. So you know that this is the passenger seat. So just double check that and make sure you got using the right side that you need before you install it. Alright, so first I want to start by taking this back J channel here, sliding it in between, my hand on the other side of the seat to catch it and pull it through. Not a whole lot of working room, but if you take it, kind of angle it, and you can start to grab onto it from the other side and then slide it through. pulling from one side to the other. We want to make sure we pull it through pretty good. Get rid of this black felt that's showing. There we go. All right, now you want to line everything up. You want to line it up with your Velcro strips, and you want to line this up with your rod for your hog rings. And then this piece here is going to go around, and it's like a Velcro on it or something. It's felt. We'll worry about that after we get the hog rings installed on this piece here. Alright, so again we have 3 hog rings, 1, 2, and 3. Since it'll take me probably a little while, since it's tedious, you know, we've already seen it done once. It's just the same procedure here. And I'll roll on to the next step. Alright, now that I've got the 3 hog rings in place, I'm just going to start Velcroing the rest of it on. And just kind of work it over the sides here. Working my way around. Now let me flip it back over again, and we'll hook up the channels on the bottom. All right, so we got this piece here. Bring it and roll it over. I think it has to go probably like that. And pull through somehow. Alright, I'm going to get these clips on the sides of the seat fastened in first. Maybe that'll help me get the front seat, or the front part of this seat clipped in. It's very tricky and very difficult to do that part. This part, pretty easy. It's a clip there. Might have to compress a little bit to get that on there. You can compress the cushion. And that's hooked in place. Come around to the other side here. And let's see what we've got. We've got one little hook right here. And this here looks like it's probably where that little, they call a Christmas tree clip goes. You have to make a hole in it though, but it should be properly secured once we get it clipped on the front and clipped on the back. So here I'm going to try and see what I can do with this some more. It'd probably make it a bit easier and quicker to do if I got a hair dryer, heated it up some to stretch the material. You gotta be really careful because it's a sharp edge that you're mating this J-clip to. And it'll cut you up. I felt something kind of click in. Just gonna keep working at it. All right, that is in nice and secure, and we can stand it upright. Get the back part. Let me incline it. All right, as you can see, we've got this clear plastic channel here, and it's going to clip onto this metal piece here. This side is not too bad to do. Once you get it in there, I'm going to push it on the edge. There we go. Good solid connection there. And now we can put these little things over here. make a little slit in them. I'm sure that's where they go. And pull them over the ears. Alright, so these little ear pieces here, I determined that they go on this metal tab here. And I've already went ahead off camera and made a slit in it and just slid it over like so. And I already did the other side as well. Now this little Velcro piece, I've got it kind of coming under the seat belt. And it's doesn't Velcro onto anything, but it's got a little sleeve here. And you just kind of put it over this metal tab. And then these just kind of fold down. And then the only thing left to do is put that plastic trim piece on the side and the lever back on. Now if you want to go the extra step, you can make a hole in this little flap here and put that little black, what they call a Christmas tree piece, in the hole underneath of it. I'm not going to worry about it. It's nice and secure. Just going to go ahead and pop this back on. Here's the hole for the lever, so we just got to line up our other parts where they go. And there's a screw that goes on the back of this thing too. It may be easier if I turn it on its side. Clean the work area first. Now this will make it easier to line everything up. Let's see. Uh-oh. I gotta be careful with this little piece. It's wanting to bend. Now this side here, I had a little trouble with. The little black plastic tab was starting to bend and wanting to break, so I had to carefully kind of hold it with one finger underneath and tap on it to get it in. Feels like it's in there good and secure. I'm gonna turn my attention to putting a little screw in the back. All right, there's a little screw that goes in this little hole right here. Alright, bingo, that's nice and secure. Last but not least, other than the headrest, I've got the little clip. I left it on here, so I wouldn't lose it. It just stays on there. And you're going to take it, line it up here. And that looks nice and straight to me. Let's double check it. Then just kind of whack it on there. Now it's in place. Trim's nice and secure. Ready to put it in the car. Bolt it down, put the headrest on. Alright, so before I put the seat in, this is dirty carpet. So I'm going to turn this shop back on and get to work. Now the time to put the seat back in. Carefully.
got the other thing sold, this and that. I feel a lot better than I did, but I'm still taking it easy.
And now time for the icing on the cake, the headrest. Push it down in there, push it all the way down in there. There we go. And one more thing, I still got to reconnect the wiring underneath the seat for the airbag and the sensor. So do not forget that, because that's very important. And then we're all done with this seat. I'm gonna move on to the driver's seat. Of course, it's the same procedure, so I'm not gonna film that and show that to you, since I've already got the passenger seat filmed for you. And then after that, should be rocking and rolling. Install these plastic cover pieces over the seat frame rails.
Don't break it.
There, see?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm buttoning down the last bolt on the driver's side seat, so y'all get ready for the big reveal. Let me tell you, this car looks awesome. So whether you want to call this interior radical red, retro red, or by its technical name, brick red, it sure does pop against the exterior of this Kona blue Mustang. And now for a little behind the scenes info on this interior makeover. Now the driver's seat I did not film because it's basically the same as doing the passenger seat. The one key difference is that it has a lever for a height adjuster on the driver's side. Now you may have seats that are power controlled and you'll have connectors to disconnect. But on the height adjuster, the manually operated one, there is a lever on it on the side, and there's a little circle cover on the lever, and you basically take a flathead or a little pry tool. There's a little groove on the bottom, and you pop that out, and that exposes two Torx T20 screws. So you unscrew those and the lever slides right off. Everything else is pretty much the same. I did have some trouble with the little plastic trim on the side that kind of covers where the levers are and stuff, that it kind of wraps around a little bit on the front. But anyway, getting it off was a pain, and I broke one of the tabs. It kind of broke from right here, and then it had that much broke off, and basically that tab goes into the side of the frame of the seat. So you can glue it back together. I did not, but I did stick the little tab back where it went, and it just kind of rests in there. I mean, it's not something where it's gonna get messed up or anything. So honestly, I don't think you need glue to fix it. So I just put it in there, and it just basically rests on there and holds that trim piece in, or out, I should say. Now, I did come into a snaggle with the foam on the driver's seat, which is kind of to be expected due to the age of the car and the miles driven on the car. It's got 170-some thousand miles on the car right now. So I had some foam that was cracked, and I had the seat apart. I was ready to get the car back on the road. And so I looked up a hack to fix the cracks in the foam, and I think it turned out pretty well, if I do say so myself. So what this hack involved is buying a bottle of contact spray. I got the Loctite brand. You spray that on the crack, and you also spray that on, I use painter's drop cloth material, and just cut pieces out of the drop cloth to size to cover the crack. So I sprayed it on the back side of that, and I adhered it over the cracks on the foam. And to me, it turned out pretty good. I mean, obviously, getting new foam pieces would probably be the best, but I tell you what, I'm amazed with how this interior turned out. The seats, they feel like I'm in a luxury car now. They're nice and firm, but soft too. It's supportive. So it's definitely a different feel over the cloth seats, and I'm really happy with the quality of the seats so far. I mean, no long-term results yet, because I just got the car and been done and been driving around just a little bit so far. Now, the one thing that I noticed after I got the interior done, it's on the sides of the seat. There's a bulge. It's kind of prominent on the driver's side, but I could also see it on the passenger side. And it was something I had to think about for a minute. Was it the seat itself causing the problem? Was it something I did causing the problem? But I looked through my before pictures, and that little pronounced bulge on the seat was there. So that was there prior to me installing the new seat covers. And what it is there's this little vertical door on the upper part of the side of the seat, and that's where your airbag is. So maybe it's kind of become more pronounced over the years as the seats wear and stuff. So it's a little bit concerning, but it was there before, so I know it wasn't the fault of the material or the fault of me. So I'm not for sure exactly how to remedy it, or if it was how it was when I first got the car, when the car was new. But I would say maybe get some new foam. The passenger side is not as pronounced, but you can see a little bit of a bulge on that side of the seat too, where the airbag cover. It's just a little plastic door. Like I said, it's kind of up and down vertical, and that's what's creating the bulge on the seat. And another thing I wanted to mention about the seat covers I got from US Auto Seat Covers. The front seats were the upholstery I got from them, so that's reproduction of the factory original, but the back seat is factory original. And you compare the two, I mean, the colors and the pattern is just like spot on. I really can't tell the difference between the reproduction and the original. So kudos to them. I think they did a great job matching the color and the pattern. And you know, I hope that in the long term, its seats really turn out well and they really wear good. If you're interested in doing a Mustang interior makeover of your own, check the YouTube description below, and you'll see the parts, the part numbers, and where I bought the parts from. And hopefully that'll help you with your interior redo. And now, before I close this video, I'm going to go over the totals I spent on the parts to make this interior makeover possible, and the grand total. So now, drum roll please! And now for the parts costs, which include taxes and shipping. Rear seat, $285. Headrest, $102.31. NOS steering wheel, $454.74. Steering wheel trim, $150.69. Steering wheel switches, $125.68. Steering wheel bolts, $7.34. Front seat upholstery, $665.53. NOS rear seat upholstery, $370.47. Door inserts, $154. And the horse emblems, $21.15. And for a grand total of $2,336.91. So if you never want to miss another random car video, remember, ring that bell.